Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're here and you do use Adobe Sketch or Adobe Draw, you are here to see how I get this drawing of Kim Kardashian right here. So I'm going to make sure that my photo format is on portrait, iPad portrait. I'm going to select my image, which is this image of Kim Kardashian, and I'm going to set it as to my desired size. And I'm going to add a new layer, go to my marker brush, and make sure that my marker brush is on normal. And I kind of mess around with the flow and stuff to see what I want. And now I'm going to do the hairline strokes in the direction of the hair, so that way it looks as realistic to the picture as you can get it. And this is a long, tedious process, and you're not gonna always fill in those empty spots, because I don't change that, like I don't make my first image layer invisible, so that way I can see underneath it. I just go ahead and do it right away, and then in the end I fill it in with another layer, which you'll be seeing soon. So I'm just about done with her hair here, and I'm doing it in the direction of her hair, just like I said. And I'm going to add a new layer and put that layer under the current layer that I was just working with. And I'm going to pick up a color and fill in underneath her hair, so that way all the white patches are filled in, and so that way you can see those individual hair stroke lines. And you want to be careful doing this, because you don't want to fill in the edges kind of where you can see them, kind of like what I just did here. You want to make sure that you can go and correct those while you still have the time and you're not too in-depth with the drawing, because it'll just be a harder process to do. You also want to make sure that after this is done, you blend the two layers together, so that way you don't have to worry about mixing up your layers or drawing on the wrong layer and having to redo everything. Here I'm kind of just filling it in even more around the edges. It's more realistic to her skin, so that way when it fades to her face, it'll blend seamlessly but still look like hair. So I'm merging the two layers that I was just working with into one, and I'm starting a new layer, obviously under the last layer I was just working with, and I'm changing the size, and I'm working on her top now, and I'm just doing the same thing that I did before. I didn't change my brush size, I guess I did. I changed my brush to blend, and now I'm just picking up a color, adding it in, and kind of making sure that I'm staying in the lines. It's okay that I'm not, because I can go back and erase those, so I'm not stressing too much about it. And I'm not worrying about the outer part of her sports bra, I'm assuming, just because I don't necessarily need to fill that in, because it's not like anybody's gonna see it. And I'm outlining her bra, so that way I don't go outside of the lines, kind of. And now I'm just kind of going crazy, picking up a color, adding it in, and continuing to do that all the way through, so that way until her bra is finished. So I am just finishing up with the back part of her bra, and I'm going to go through and make sure that I have all of the edges and everything that I said that I wasn't going to worry about. I changed my mind. Now I'm starting a new layer over the layer with the bra, and I changed the opacity or the flow depending on what program you're using. And I'm just kind of picking up color and kind of going crazy because I don't have to worry about staying in the lines, because I can go through and erase that and I don't have to worry about anything. And you want to make sure that when you fill it in, that you fill it in as thick as possible, so that way you don't have any white spots. So you can just delete that entire bottom layer with her bra on that, so it'll just look nice and seamless. And you want to continue picking up those colors and adding them in, and just kind of going crazy, filling them in, and trying to make it as smooth as possible, so you can get it as realistic as you can. And I will be back in a minute. So I'm just finishing up with her bra, and I am cleaning up those edges, making sure they look as smooth as, and as realistic as the picture does. And I'm going to check my layers real quick, and see, without that bottom layer under there, I can just go through and fill in all of that stuff that isn't filled in to make it look smooth and seamless. And I can use this instead of my bottom really rigid first layer, if you understand what I'm kind of saying there. So with doing this, it helps when you go to the transition with her skin, because it'll still look a little weird, but you can tell that it's clothing and it's not some sketched out weird layer, if that makes any sense at all. So this is what your layer should look like. I'm starting with her eyebrows now, and I changed my marker back to normal, and my size to 10, I think. I'm kind of stroking in the direction of her hair on her eyebrows, which is the same thing that you did with her hair, and you're going to just continue doing that until you have both eyebrows done. Now I'm just starting to blend her skin. I'm making sure that I have the brush on blend, and I'm starting with her chest just because I want to make sure that I get a feel of the tone, and I want to make sure that it's as natural looking as possible. So this is kind of like my testing area where I test to see what works best with the skin tone, and I always zoom out occasionally to make sure that it looks fine, and I take my eraser and line those outer edges to help make sure that those lines are clean. I'm starting with her arm now, and I'm kind of going along the edges, and you want to make sure that this layer is again under your hair and the bra, so that way when you're drawing you don't have to worry about drawing over anything. So you want to make sure that you're continuously going in that direction around her arm, picking up a color, adding it in, again picking up a color, adding it in, and so on. And you just do that basically until the arm is filled. And when you do a section of her body, you want to make sure that it's on a new layer unless it's separate, you know. So like her chest was separate from her arm. They didn't touch it all. So I didn't have to start a new layer. But you want to make sure you start a new layer so you're not coloring over the layers or too under the layers, if you get what I'm saying. So you basically just do this until her entire arm is done, and listen to some random song until I come back. Now I'm just finishing up her arm, so I created a newer layer on top of the layer that I was just working with. And I took my opacity or my flow down until like you can see the 10. I don't know, I didn't see the number. And I'm just quickly going over all of that and trying to blend it in together. And with that, it's going to look as smooth like skin. And unfortunately with Adobe Sketch you can't get skin textures, so I plan on working with Autodesk Sketchbook here soon, so there will be videos on that, so I would keep your eyes open as well for that. I'll be doing probably a little series around that app of me learning how to use it, I guess. But yeah, just blend in the direction of her skin. This will help later when you're trying to smooth out those ridges from when you were just scribbling in the color. So keep in mind that the direction of the skin when you're coloring it in and over it will matter later on. So as you can see, the arm is starting to come in a little more smooth. This is what it should look like as you're smoothing it out. It should look as the same to the arm, the original arm, as your drawing does, if you want it to look realistic. Now I'm just going along the edges and erasing all those parts where I was off of her arm, just so that way it's smooth, so when I go to start a new layer, I don't have to worry about not being able to cover up those little random spots that I scribbled out of. So do this at the end of every drawing, so that way it'll help get you a cleaner, better looking line. So I just started a new layer and I'm working on her neck, doing the direction of the skin. I started a new layer under her arm layer, just so that way I don't draw on top of the arm that I just finished. I'm probably going to say that like 10 or 12 times in this video. And you just want to do it in the direction of the skin again, so that way you can fill it out and it'll look as realistic as possible. You can add the little lines after, like right where her skin is like kind of folding a little bit. You could do that after, or you can start a new layer and do it now, which is what I should have did, but again, you live and you learn, so keep that in mind. So I added a layer on top of that layer right where we were working on the neck, and this is what it should look like when it's blended. And I made the layers invisible, and I took the tone of her neck, and I was trying to place that on there, but evidently I was busy and I just wasn't doing anything here. See, that's what I'm doing right there.
on the wrong apple. Living life, emotions you never can manage. They picking me out of a raffle. Number one heartache coming from memories. Number two pencil style. We straight now, going opposite ways. These opposite days are making me think what to say now, and that's real. Running in circles, never leave me alone.
Again, I'm going across those edges, erasing them, so that way when I start my new layer, it doesn't overlap. I try to make this look as smooth as possible, but guess I just didn't have the patience for that today, I guess. I have no idea.
Cause I know I got some problems and I'm open to mine. So we all need some time just to settle down. Won't you come around? Cause I never can leave it alone. Been coming in closer. Been taking my time when they speeding off, writing and signing these deals they supposed to. I don't get motivation for something I wanna pursue. Spitting hotter than toasters. Saturday grinding, I'm better off sitting back, mixing and chilling some fucking mimosas. Should we toast her? Making $1,000 in my pocket. Like fine, that's good for me now. Or say fuck it, I'm taking my shit to some levels and bringing my friends overseas now. I can do it, but promise me every time I'll be down lower than hell. You digging me back to the surface, rocking the stage. You think I'm just cocky, but really I'm drowning inside, feeling nervous. Sound of the violins of the alarm clock. They waking me up when the harm stop. I'm dreaming we staying together, but honestly you kinda act like it's all games. And I'm tired of this, but it's sad cause I feel like you fine with this. And I'm mad as hell, but I cry for this. Just wasting my time, but it feels my game. Spit around to this, and that's real. Running in circles, never leave me alone. Say I don't answer the messages or pick up my phone. Say we all need some time just to settle down. Won't you come around? Cause I never can leave it alone. Tell me your
As you can see, everything's kind of coming together. I'm merging everything down into one layer, and I do go, I start a layer under everything, so that way later on I can just color all those white spots that didn't get colored in. See, as you can see, I'm filling that layer in so that way it's not blotchy and gappy. You can do this, the same thing with the hair, you can do it with the eyes, you can do it with anything on your drawing. I did blend her under her bra. I did do that, but somehow it managed to get cropped out. I have no idea how it happened, so I just went with it. So if you see at the end of the drawing that like her bra part is not there, that's the reason why.
You can't even look me in the eyes when you say you'll make this right. I've heard
I'm starting to draw her eyes now. I did her pupils and the whites of her eyes on a different layer, so that way I can do her the actual color part of her eyes. I'm not sure what that's called. And I also did the reflections on a different layer as well. And later on, after you're done picking up the colors and adding it in, there's really no direction that I do this, and I kind of just do it all over. You can either smooth those out, or you can just leave it how it is. I usually like to smooth it out. So doing that really helps a lot. But it looks more realistic when you do smooth out the eye. If you want it to look more like paint, you could just leave it how it is, but I like it when it looks more realistic. And this is what your end product should look like. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my Instagram if you have any questions. You can DM me on there, or you can comment on my photos. I will always answer your comments unless they're like super ridiculous, just to let you know. So feel free to tell your friends, yada yada yada. Shameless self promo. Goodbye.